coaching and personal growth. I am your host, Dr. Maurine. I'm a learning leader, educator, researcher, and executive leadership coach, passionate about helping organizations develop their leaders to become leaders people want to work for. And I do that through my company, EMK Learning Solutions. Connect with me and let me know how I can support you. So this is our very first episode for the new year. So I can say Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. And so new year, new goals, right? So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at goals and habits. So once again, welcome back to another episode of the Empowerment Minutes podcast. So we're also going to explore today how to establish meaningful goals using the SMART framework, and then making sure that they're broken down into actionable tasks and ways to develop habits that support your aspirations, or while rooting out the habits that sabotage your progress. So we know that in the beginning of the year, most people do have New Year resolutions, right? My New Year resolution is this, my New Year resolution is that. For me, I would rather, focus on goals. The last episode we recorded at the end of the year was about taking some time to reflect on the year and time to reflect and revisit those dreams. It's time to dream again, right? And we know dreams without goals are just dreams. So when we dream, we also want to be able to put the dreams in pictures, right? So our last episode, we talked about creating a dream board or a vision board for yourself, and then putting that image on your phone or somewhere where you can see it every day to get reminded, and also sharing with your accountability partner, someone who can hold you accountable to make sure that you keep working on those this year. So now that you have your vision board, and then today's episode, we're going to be talking about goals, right? So I'm not a New Year's resolution person, but I'm going to be talking about goals. So it's a new year, and so it's a fresh chapter that is offering a sense of possibility and motivation. So I'd like to encourage you to take advantage of this momentum, right, and jumpstart your path towards success. However, remember that setting goals is just the first step. The real transformation happens when we consistently take action. So let's talk about harnessing the positive energy to make sure that it doesn't fade, in February, in March, as we go along the year, right? So this definitely, the answer lies in creating specific actionable goals, right? And then pairing these goals with a habit. You've heard about SMART goals. So to do that, you want to be able to not just create goals, right? Because when your goals are just general goals, they're not specific, then you're not able to, work on those goals, right? I want to lose weight. It's just a general, it's just a broad goal. So you got to be able to be specific, right? And so that's when we're wanting to make your goals as SMART goals. So specific, S stands for specific, right? And so, for example, your goal would be well defined and clear. Instead of I want to get fit or I want to lose weight, aim for I want to run a 5K by June, for example. Then the next, the acronym, the next letter is M. M stands for measurable. You want to be able to quantify or measure your progress, right? So you want to be able to run 5K. That's what you said when you looked at the first letter S. With M, you want to be able to run 3 times a week, right? And increase your distance by a certain amount. By doing that, it helps you then to get closer to your goals. Then the next letter is A, achievable, right? Is the goal achievable? You want to make sure that what you're wanting to do is realistic. You want to think about the resources, the time frame, and if you have the current abilities to do that. Then letter R is relevant, right? Is it realistic? Is it relevant, right? Is it, is it aligned with your goals, right? So if you focus on fitness, maybe it aligns with your desire, right, for a healthier lifestyle. And then the last one is T, time bound. Do you want to give yourself time, or schedule a deadline that is achievable? So, for example, I will complete a 5K by, April 30th, 2025. Right, so make sure you have a clear timeline. So the making your goals SMART, right, would help prevent uh, vague intentions, right, from turning into abandoned, goals, right? You want to ensure that every goal you set for this year is clear, is doable, is aligned with what matters to you. I want to throw into the mix your values, right? Are your goals aligned with your values? So, do you know what your values are? Take time and figure out what your values are and make sure that your values are reflected in those SMART goals. Now, the next thing is to be able to break down those goals into little tasks, right? So you have those SMART goals, right? And then so you want to be able to make sure that the task that you're going to take to reach those goals are actionable. So if not, the goals can be you can feel quite overwhelmed, right? If it's just one big hairy goal, you want to make sure that they're smart and that they're actionable, right? So for each of those SMART goals, figure out or brainstorm tasks that you would need to perform to get there. So for example, if your goal is to run a 5K, make sure that your task that you would list would include things like scheduling run days or following a beginner training or exercise plan. Now you want to also prioritize your task, right? You can have a task list or a to-do list, right? But you want to be able to prioritize what's most important to you, right? Because not all tasks carry the same weight. Today I actually taught a class on time management and task management, and I talk about so many techniques, right? With us leaders on how they can prioritize their time. So prioritization is critical, right? Because I love this quote by Steve Covey, and it says the key is not to prioritize your schedule but to schedule your priorities. So how are you scheduling your priorities, right? And so now you want to set milestones. When do you want to achieve this by? And then you want to be able to put that somewhere that you want to track it. Maybe you want to use an app, right? And maybe a task management app or maybe a calendar, something that you can use to track your progress. You want to be able to share that with your accountability partner so you can be able to have some accountability. Now, we all know that many times people set goals, even though SMART goals, and they don't follow through. And you'd ask them, what happens to your goals? I don't know. I don't know what happens to my goals, right? And so this definitely tells us that, there are things that must have gotten in the way of those goals, being realizing those goals. So one thing that is critical is habits, right? When you have bad habits, they get in the way and they sabotage your goals. So this is a good time of the year to start thinking about, examining your habits when it comes to your goals, right? Are those healthy habits, right? Are those habits that sabotage your goals? You might want to be able to, look for ways to just, get rid of those bad habits and start forming new habits. Achieving goals isn't just about one task at a time, it's about forming those habits that reinforce the outcome you want. So it's like a process to reach your goal, right? So when you're wanting to create those habits, right, you want to be able to, start small. You want to be able to identify what a new habit would be. And you've heard people saying that, a new habit would stick within 21 days. Quite frankly, what happens is, when you create new habits, you want to be able to be consistent with those habits, stick with those habits, right? And then also stack those habits, create new habits, one after the other, right? So then you can have a string of habits. So if, for example, you want to make coffee every morning, use that time to also review your task for the day or plan your lunch. So when you're pairing new habit with something you already do, you reduce friction, right? And then you increase the possibility of actually achieving those, making the habit stick, right? And following through with it. You want to also set cues and rewards. Being able to give a cue with something that is like a prompt, to help you start that habit, right? So maybe like a note or something that would remind you to kickstart that habit. It could be putting your workout shoes somewhere where you want to see them. Oh, I need to be able to go and work out, right? So then after you've done that, you want to be able to also, reward yourself, right? You want to give yourself a small reward after completion. It could be even listening to your favorite song or eating a piece of fruit. Now, another thing is to be able to make sure that your environment reinforces that habit. If you're wanting to lose weight, right, you can't be putting candy and all the other things. Before you know, you're going to be eating the candy, and now you're going to fall into your bad habit again. So, try to work on those bad habits, identify those bad habits that sabotage your goals, look for triggers, and be able to replace or eliminate them, and make sure that you create environmental barriers that would help you to stick with a new habit, and really take advantage of your accountability partner, making sure that person will really hold you accountable and said, we had agreed to do this, and so what's going on. I would also encourage you to use a habits tracker to track your habits. And so once you list your habits in different categories, it could be maybe your health, habit in your health or in your finances or your career, be able to, put your goal down, your habit, and then also set up, those rewards to reward yourself once you accomplish those new habits. So as we embark on this new year, I want you to remember that success isn't just about building, those goals, but it's about being able to take action steps, right, and daily habits that support your vision, right? And so it's equally important to weed out harmful habits that sabotage your progress. So when you align those actions and then do them consistently, you're setting yourself up for a successful and transformational year. So I want to thank you for tuning in to our very first episode of the new year. I'd like to thank you and then welcome you to stay with us for more insights and strategies to make your most purposeful and productive year yet, 2025. So thank you once again for tuning into the Empowerment Minutes podcast. Until next time, keep setting those smart goals, keep building those supportive habits, and keep, weeding away those obstacles that stand in the way of your success. I wish you a successful year ahead. This is Dr. Maurine Quendes